You failed already. But I don't have to tell you this, you already know. And so have I, if we're being honest right now. And that's good. We learn from failure. We can come back stronger from failure. Failure is the greatest teacher.
If you never fail, how do you expect to do something different to improve? Without failure, there's no way to go but down. And here's the thing about failure. I'm scared of it. I'm terrified of failure. I'm not gonna lie. But we don't defeat failure. We embrace it. See, this fear comes from a very intimate place inside because making art is intimate. Someone once said, write what you know. Meaning you should write about the things that you've experienced, things that you've lived through, but also feelings that you've had, things that are intrinsic to you, things that only you could know. Like, for example, even in your own family, you had brothers and sisters who had very similar experiences growing up, and still you ended up very different from them. And it's because of that, because you're the one person in the world who can interpret and feel the things the way you do. So making art is a literal personal interpretation of the world around us. Therefore, it's a very intimate exercise. It's putting yourself out there in the most vulnerable, naked, raw way imaginable. That is what art is about. And that is why it's terrifying.
And that's not even the worst part. What if nobody points and laughs? What if nobody's watching? What if nobody cares? Why do it in the first place? Sick of this life, not that you care. Picture, if you will, that you have created something already. You have a movie ready, you have an album ready, you have a novel ready. What is the scariest thing that you can possibly think of? And I'll tell you what my internal monologue sounds like in those cases. It's like, what if I spend all this time doing this one thing and then nobody checks it out, nobody listens to it, nobody spends time with it, nobody's talking about it? What if I spend all this rawness into a piece of art and then just nobody cares? Have I lost? Have I wasted all that time?
And it's those consequences of not having anybody read that art or see that art that terrify us as creators. Because we want to belong to a world that accepts us and who sees us, a world that looks at us and goes like, oh, okay, there you are. We are so afraid of wasting time, and that's the most ironic part of it all, because we as procrastinators, as professional fucking procrastinators, we are so afraid of wasting time that we end up doing nothing with it. You set out to make this creative project, and after like 5 or 6 false starts, you finally come to realize that this project is going to take, I don't know, 2, 3, 5 years to fully realize, and then it dawns on you how much of a passion project this has to be. And that's a lot of required passion to do the same thing for 5 years. And it's terrifying, because what if you go through 5 years of this thing and there's no guarantee that it's going to work, and at the end of 5 years it doesn't actually work? What then? There's no guarantee that whatever you sink your passion into and end up producing is going to be seen or heard or paid attention to. Not even this channel. When I put out these videos, I don't know if anybody is going to watch them, but I pretend someone will. I pretend it's going to help one person. And sometimes that one person ends up being me, because doing these things sometimes helps me talk myself through certain problems. Sometimes I say that it'd be nice if I could sit myself down and talk to me, and this helps me do exactly that. So at least it helps me, at least I'm learning something. But here's the thing. If you don't do what you want to do during the time that you don't want to waste, the time's going to pass anyways. And that's one of the things that works against us in life in general. When time passes and you can't make a decision, life will make that decision for you. And I've made that mistake hundreds of times out of fear of wasting time. I don't make the decision of doing the thing that's going to take too long. I choose smaller activities that are going to be better for the near future, that are going to give me that immediate reward, that dopamine hit that I constantly need without thinking too far ahead. So I've ended up never choosing the correct hardworking path that I should have chosen years ago. So life ended up making those decisions for me. And the time that I was afraid of wasting was spent anyways. And now that time is gone and I can't get it back. But you know what I can do? I can make decisions. I can learn how to make decisions now so that the time that I do have in front of me is better spent. So when it comes to failing, when it comes to being afraid of failure and the consequences of that failure, think about it. What is the worst thing you can possibly think of if you create something, if you put it out and nobody looks at it? What is the worst possible scenario? I'll give you some examples of what that sounds like to me. Like, nobody reads your novel. Nobody gives you money. You don't get any exposure from it. Jack Antonoff doesn't call you to produce your next album. You don't get invited to Oscar parties. And guess what? That's already happening. Some of the worst case scenario things that you can think of are already here. And look at you, living through the worst case scenario of your failures without even having to fail. You're already experiencing the consequences of a lack of art. Nobody is knocking on your door. Nobody's talking about you. So screw it. You might as well just write something. You might as well just sing something. You might as well just dance. The bad things are already happening, and time is ticking by. So why not give it a shot? There is literally nothing to lose, because the things that you're afraid of, you're already surviving through them. I get it. It's very hard to jump into the unknown. But what you haven't noticed is that you're already falling. So you might as well just start flapping your arms.